What's up, everyone? Nkane here, and welcome to some post-commentary thoughts on Modern Warfare 2 and more. Well, starting right off the bat, rather than playing this on PC, I am playing this on console, Xbox One. Many thanks to my cousin for that. But yeah, this leads into my first critique/criticism. The fucking driver check that was on Steam. I don't know what they were thinking, and I will preface this by saying right off the bat, yes, in spite of my still relatively modern system and whatnot, yes, I realize that I still play on a GTX 760, another courtesy of my cousin. It's better than nothing, but I do play on that. With that being said, I wasn't the only person running into a lack of being able to play. There were 3080s and 3090s who couldn't pass this fucking thing. I don't know who the hell thought it was a great idea to have a lockdown functionality like that, but when even modern GPUs, like, you know, top tier modern GPUs can't pass that shit, maybe ask yourself if you should have just fucking removed it and otherwise stipulate, okay, up to a certain point spec-wise, I'm sorry, but we can't do much for you or can't help you at all. I could have understood that entirely. The funny thing was, even with the 760, so if I went to go through like safe mode and whatnot, where it actually allowed me to access the menu, set up all that shit after the fact, I was actually able to get in-game to the lobby. It didn't look great, didn't look crisp, didn't look beautiful, but it fucking played. Hell, after I toned down a few more options, especially in relation to like shadows and stuff like that, I was getting over 90 frames. I would at least like the fucking chance to test that out on my own, make that decision for myself. I get why they were trying to do it, but the much better alternative would have simply been to say, for anybody on like just fucking 10-year-old hardware or more, try it on your own risk, but we can't help you. It would just be too much. I could understand that. But having a goddamn driver check that was failing 3080s, 3090s, and obviously latest edition Radeon cards as well. There were so many fucking problems there too. It's just, when you're cutting your player base down because of stupid ass lockdown requirements like that, locked down spec requirements like that, you're asking for, especially for an opinion like mine. I mean, I'm even more negative about the potential future of the PC port. I mean, just it's not keep in mind, I watched like XCount others play, and I hate to say that significantly above average players were having harder experiences than I was having. So yeah, fucking driver check insanity, and just even just thinking about it again now, it's just mind-bogglingly frustrating and annoying. And that leads us into the UI. I'm technically beating a dead horse here because I've already seen more than a few videos and major complaints about the UI, but my own kind of special sauce to add to it is, as I was telling my cousin Pogo in a kind of tangent of sorts, ironically enough, I feel like the game suffers from PCification. Way too much emphasis in trying to not even hybridize. Focus on a user interface design with PC in mind. Don't get me wrong, I know that there's been hiring from Hulu, this, that, and the other. I'll get to the streaming aspect momentarily. But keeping that way too much in mind when these consoles still aren't PC. You're not dealing with a controller that has, on standard controllers that have 100 fucking buttons to them. You're just not dealing with that. I was telling Pogo that I honestly feel like if this had been for like the 360 and whatnot, at least half of the fucking settings would have been cut out, if not more. Because the developers would have acknowledged or even pointed out to somebody, so maybe we should add this or maybe we should add that. My God, there's only so much we can program into here. There's only so much we can do. Putting this simple option under that setting, under that, subheading and that subheading, and then throwing all that shit under, 2 and 3 different option selections, or, option menus. You're going to give players a headache before they can even get into the fucking game. Stop doing that. Even 2019 ran into that issue too, but based on my memory, nowhere near as fucking bad. Just overly convoluted nonsense. And I dare say that even for PC, you could still cut some shit out. At least in regards to the audio settings and pulling that off the top of my head, you could probably cut out at least 2 or 3 options in relation to how the sound mixing shit and whatnot works. Because 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you, especially for how the audio mixing works, you could have a choose this or that, as opposed to choose this, that, the other, left, right, down, up, center, theatrical mixing. Just way too much unnecessary shit. Tone it the fuck down, even for PC. And keep in mind that you are programming for a console. I mean, you're maybe an enthusiast controller, but even that's not going to have a fucking 100 buttons to deal with. Again, you're taking PC, making it even more convoluted, trying to slap it on console, and then making them both too convoluted. It's unfucking necessary. Ay. Oh yeah, and just in case it wasn't obvious, this is the first match of the beta for me. It was kind of frustrating, but also initially kind of led me in with a measure of nice shot. Measure of positivity, because at first I start off great, and I did see the last couple of Call of Duties. I'm pretty sure my first matches were losses for the betas that I tried them on. I think it was the what was it? Know for a fact the was it Black Ops beta or Modern Warfare 3 beta? Yeah, I know for a fact my first match was a loss, and the Black Comp before we even really knew that, it was just fucking unbelievable. So yeah, this post commentary is going to be my first game, my finally getting a decent game, which is about to come up here in a second, and then I'm going to also be throwing in a IW4X match that I got and whatnot. And this leads to hit detection. Hit detection wasn't the worst I thought it was going to be, in terms of like comp shit like that. But I was honestly hoping for a lot better. Like, the best way I can describe it is it felt significantly more 50-50 compared to previous iterations of Call of Duty, starting from like Black Ops and whatnot, where it was definitely wasn't, at least for me, it wasn't 50-50. It was way less than that. But yeah, but if it being 50-50 still isn't a positive. I remember watching XCal stream the game, and I'm just thinking to myself while he's playing the shit he's running into and whatnot, I'm just like, it looked like he was having an even worse time than I was. Keep in mind, this guy is significantly more skilled than I am. Watching that happen, I'm just like, no. Just fucking no. No, on no with a side bowl of no. It's just, after a certain point, where does it stop that you take that shit out? I mean, also keeping in mind things like, SBMM, or as it's now been even further worse into EOMM, I believe it's called. Engagement-oriented matchmaking, I think, is the term. I barely follow that shit anymore, so. But yeah, all that thrown in and whatnot, including the 50-50, ties into an even broader complaint here. You make the gunsmithing system entirely worthless if the player is going to know that half the fucking time it's not going to matter what attachment I give to this gun. It's not going to matter if I make the gun stability that much better. It's not going to matter if I give it just that little bit more damage, if it's still not significantly more damage. I think it was even in this match, as good as it was, there were still moments where I commented to like Pogo and Plank where I was just like, even as relatively good as this is still going for me, there are still instances where I need like UMP level damage here. I need fucking AA12 level. I need 1887's pre-patched level damage here to win some of these gunfights. Even with the fucking attachments I have unlocked now and whatnot. It's just still not fucking enough. And that is still not a good thing. That's why I was telling Pogo once everything was said and done. I stand by the same opinion that I gave the game before, when they were they showed off like the first modern multiplayer trailer for it. I'm looking forward to this game single player, definitely. I fucking loved 2019's campaign. It almost beat out original Modern Warfare 2's campaign for me. Almost. I'm hoping, in a sense of poeticism, that the Modern Warfare 2 2022 single player maybe gives it that knockout punch. But that doesn't change the fact that the multiplayer still has this egregious fucking issue of introducing great ideas like the gunsmithing system, allowing for customization and shit like that, but then you still piss on the parade by making even the best players with, you know, having to switch between 6 different fucking setups until they find something that can at least confirm, you know, a shot to the chest enough to give them a 2 KD, as opposed to, say, a 4 and 5 KD like they would normally get without the handicap. So yes, stop fucking... Like I said, even for as relatively decent, if you want to call it that, a match this was, I just still ran into moments where I'm just like, I need more fucking damage. That's all there is to it. I need more fucking damage. Unfortunately, this match doesn't have the footage necessary to finish off my gunsmithing point, so I'll kind of talk into the, thankfully the IW4X match is a lot lengthier, so I'll be able to cover all the rest I want to talk about. But yeah, which leads into the gunsmithing system. Maybe others might disagree with me, but I honestly felt like, especially given I didn't even get to unlock everything. Fuck, I didn't even get to unlock the vector and shit like that. Which the platform release is something I might finish off with as this video ends. The gunsmithing system is even less rewarding and even more stymieing this time around compared to 2019. So many more cons than pros. It's like after a certain point, as actually to head back to original point I mentioned, it's like you're actually better off sticking to the regular stock, fucking regular magazine and shit like that, and otherwise maybe grabbing 2 or 3 of the first unlocked attachments that have nothing but pros. Because beyond that, I mean, what I saw is like you maybe had 2 pros top, and then you had like 4 fucking cons. What's the point? It seems like you're otherwise just... you're making it worse. So yeah, ultimately speaking, the Modern Warfare 2 beta felt like it's still a mess. Not the worst I was expecting. I was expecting a whole hell of a lot worse. But still, I really wish it had been better. And now we get on to my biggest complaint of all Call of Duty time. The maps. The maps, the maps, the maps, the maps. It was compounded by the current rumor that the Modern Warfare 2 2022 multiplayer is going to be having a collective DLC of all different kinds of older maps, spanning back, I think even to CoD 4 if I saw correctly. And there was two pieces of information, one that pissed me off and one that just made me go, if only you guys weren't so fucking arrogant. One piece of information is that Modern Warfare 2 2022 is supposed to be treated as a collective game. Like a lot of people actually had wished this game had been treated. They're gonna aim for that. And I would actually be happy about that. Dumbass. I would actually be happy about that if they didn't peep around some of the worst map developers in first-person shooter history. What does it say to you as a gamer when you can't enjoy any of the 4 maps put out for a beta? I would be insulted. You know that you're likely not going to enjoy any of the rest of the maps. You didn't even enjoy any for the beta. But you hear, oh hey, we are going to release potentially some for free, and then have this priced out, ultra mega, you know, cashing in on hoping the players enjoy the fact we're putting all their favorite maps together for a DLC pack. So that way players will actually play this new Call of Duty. Rather than say, fire their current fucking team and hire people who actually want to play good maps. Less convoluted maps, less noisy maps, less maps with fucking 20 different items to trip over, bump into, or fucking careen with, or get stuck on. I am so goddamn tired of that shit. I'm so goddamn tired of these cynical, yeah, let's just slap a map pack together and maybe it'll keep the people playing. Because it doesn't feel like a reward, it feels like a placation. And that's fucking insulting. Why can't you just bring new blood in that can design better maps? Now don't get me wrong, Modern Warfare 2 2022 is not the first offender here. As far as I consider it, it really truly started with like Black Ops 3. That's where the enjoyment ratio for the available maps just really started to take a downturn. Got even worse with Black Ops 4, but at least there were still maps you could be like, okay, we can just skip this and go into this. I didn't even have that option with the fucking beta. I didn't want to play anything. There were 2 maps that I could tolerate with the LDTC crew. That's it. Tolerate, not enjoy. That's a fucking problem. And you make it even worse with hearing, oh hey, yeah, we're gonna throw this, you know, collective DLC bargain in hopes that you keep playing this, rather than cutting down certain bad sections of a map and trying to improve upon it. So yeah, that is probably my biggest complaint thus far for Modern Warfare 2 2022 multiplayer, is the maps deserve the harshest criticism. The developers behind them need to be fired. They need an entirely new team. Just take them all out and hire some fucking, 20-year-olds or something who recently come into playing Duke Nukem or just older fucking first-person shooters and shit. Excuse that tangent. The maps fucking sucked. And that's pretty much most of my gripes of Modern Warfare 2 in a nutshell. I might try and do like a pro video at some point when I'm less bitter about it, but I remember bringing that actually up to Plink when I was getting ready to do this video, and I just realized I can't say I have god-awful things to say or that I regret playing it, but that's still not necessarily a pro. Which brings us to PC CoD client thought. I play I play a lot less of Call of Duty, even on PC, than I used to when I first discovered IW4X and, not Plutonium, but whatever it was I was playing before Modern Warfare 3 was. I notice that the culture has gotten a fuckload worse. Like, there was nowhere near as many sniping-oriented servers when I first started playing IW4X, and now the ratio is laughable. And generally speaking, when you try and go into the most played servers, it's like 80%, 80 or 90%. Sometimes I tend to be like the only fucking person not using a sniper. It's not always the case, but there's definitely some unpleasant occurrences where that does happen. And then other times it's like, the makeup's like 90% snipers. And I always say the same thing, like I'll say the same thing in chat. Do you really think you are going to keep the player base up when they have to put up with this shit? Quick scoping in Modern Warfare 2. For as much fun as, I must admit, for as much fun as it was to watch in the heyday, for, the Taj clips and shit like that, how cool it was, I never really considered the fact of maybe the player base would have even been higher if players didn't have to deal with this shit. Because now, I still love that clip. I was fucking ecstatic upon seeing that. I was just like, yes, I finally got my Excel and Sandy moment uninterrupted. It's beautiful. Anyways, back to my point, sorry. If you want to try and keep if you want more than a fucking 100 players at a time, you have to encourage. I know more than a few players who would like to get shot by a shotgun more than they would like to get, barely zoomed in by a fucking sniper rifle. So yeah, the degraded culture of IW4X has increasingly become noticeable in me, and it gets to a point now where I try and switch to the servers. If I see it's too many snipers, I just call it a day, basically. I don't even try and play anymore. And then I switch over to like Plutonium, Modern Warfare 3, and try and find a server that doesn't feel like the console experience all over again. Just the increase in sniping and quick scoping servers and shit like that, as you can clearly see, is a problem, and it's driving down the player base. There is a new client I am interested in, and I'm hoping I'll be able to play it and whatnot, called SM2. Based on the footage that I've seen on it so far, it looks like I'm probably going to end up switching over to it. I'm hoping it's, I'm hoping hit detect. Considering I think the engine's supposed to be like a hybridization of Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, I'm hoping like hit detection, the lag comp shit and whatnot, either will be non-existent finally, or just not so fucking bad. I will be able to play it more without, being annoyed half the fucking time. So yeah, if you haven't heard of SM2 yet, search up SM2 Modern Warfare 2. and you'll see its site pop up. And they also have a YouTube channel where they actually have some really cool videos and stuff like that, and weapon choices that I'm actually interested in. And then we have plutonium. I have a very, very, very fucked up chat video. I still haven't posted yet, but I do plan on posting it. Yeah, plutonium implemented voice chat without a functioning mute menu. Guys, especially the fact that, to my knowledge, you still haven't implemented the mute menu function properly. I don't know what you were thinking, but even to my ears, I was just like, dear God, this is like Xbox 360 chat on crack. Just like epithets all over the fucking place. Like, shit, I probably can't even, you know, say now just for historical sake on YouTube. And unfortunately, you can't mute it and you can't cut it out. To my knowledge, you can't even turn it off in the settings. I might find that out later, I can't, but at the time that I recorded said video and I was playing and whatnot, I mean, it was starting to become a trial of masochism, trying to ignore it enough so that way I could keep playing. But yeah, that is a... I'm still of the opinion that adding it in was a terrible idea if you weren't going to have the mute option set up first. But yeah, having voice chat without mute functionality, oh God, that just fucking opened up the door. Even one of the more reasonable people who was basically just trying to antagonize one of the biggest just young dickheads in the chat, even he had a mouth on him. It was just, oh God, why? So yeah, PC COD clients definitely need more than a little bit of an overhaul in terms of getting back to when I was starting to really enjoy myself again, you know, playing on PC, finally get learning. Because now, I just, like I said, I switch in between servers, and more often than not, I just it feels like either playing console or worse. Especially with the fucking, without a proper mute menu for the chat. That's just... As soon as I realized I couldn't mute, I was just like, yep, this was a bad idea on their part. What the fuck were you thinking? So yeah, that's everything I've been holding inside Call of Duty related, both new and old. I hope you enjoyed this. I actually rather enjoyed this particular gameplay. I also wanted to add the contrast. I still consider myself a above average at best Call of Duty player, and when I'm allowed to do well, I can get games like that fairly consistently. I've actually had times in servers where, you know, I've had more than a few of these kinds of matches and whatnot. But contrast that still with newer games where you have even players like XCal and Sandy who just get people with legit, even now, still legitimate good skill. They can't even really fucking play anymore because it's like they have a fucking several ton anvil on them, just handicapping the shit out of them. After a certain point, you start killing enjoyment of first-person shooter games by making that too much of an emphasis because you are trying to please too many goddamn people at once. Fucking stop it. Anywho, that is all the rest of my that is all the rest of my COD-related thoughts outside of the fact that the release window for Modern Warfare 2 2022's beta was dog shit. What the fuck were you thinking?